All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now live. Welcome to NCTA's first live streamed training event, hosted here by Adalis AJ Munoz. And we have here NCTA President, Master Dan Chuang, who is here to introduce us to our brand new live experience.
Hi, everyone. Oh man, it's so good to be here online. I know that our lives have changed drastically over the past 5-6 weeks, especially those of us in the collegiate community. A lot of us were on campuses and were essentially ripped out of our communities very quickly, and we're with families or an alternative housing right now. But I know that this is a tough time for everyone. I think one thing that NCTA that I thought would be a good idea to do is to give you guys some resources while you're training at home and get some of our very best collegiate athletes in front of you so that you can keep learning from home and also have a nice change of pace and remind us that we are a close-knit community in the collegiate taekwondo community. These workouts are going to be ongoing. I'm really excited. Our first three lined up are, of course, AJ Munoz, three-time world champion, world collegiate champion in 2019. One of the very few people who's represented in both recognized and Freestyle Poomsae at the World Championships. She's just all around one of the toughest competitors I know, and has really had unprecedented success at the world level. So I'm excited for her to share some of her training methods with you. Next week or over the next couple of weeks, we'll have a couple of other athletes coming in. Cheyenne Lewis, who is a current USA Taekwondo Academy a resident athlete and former Pan Am Games gold medalist, many accolades. Also Eddie Zhang, who is a multiple-time world medalist, two-time World University Games silver medalist as well. So we're really putting some of our best and brightest collegiate athletes in front of you. I think one of the neat things about the NCTA is it shows that you don't have to stop doing Taekwondo in college. I know Master AJ, she is studying for her bachelor's in both exercise science, is that right, and psychology. Also, Cheyenne and Eddie both pursued 4-year degrees and have completed those. So, really Taekwondo doesn't have to stop for you when you go to school, and going on to become good collegiate Taekwondo leaders too. AJ is the president of her University Taekwondo Club. And so hopefully it gives you a window into that and some inspiration for those of you who are at home, who are in high school or junior high school, looking ahead to college and looking forward to that path as well. So again, I hope everyone's doing safe. I hope that you and your families are doing well and healthy, and that your dojongs are surviving, and that your programs are flourishing as much as possible under these conditions. I know we've all become Zoom experts, but I think this workout will just be a really special one. I think one of our most visible athletes out here, volunteering her time for you to give you guys a great workout. So I hope everyone has a great time. Enjoy, follow along safely at home, and have a great time.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate the opportunity, and I am very excited to share some of the drills and things that I do. I know that right now I'm in my dojang, so people might think like, oh, there's a full space, but these are a lot of drills that I do even with minimal space. I didn't always have a dojang to train in. Back when I first started, I actually trained outside in the dirt and rocks. That's what we had, so that's what I used. So a lot of these drills are able to be used anywhere. So I really look forward to sharing all of this knowledge. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat box, and we will do our best to explain as we go. So one more time, thank you to Coach Chuang for giving me this opportunity, and to the NCTA staff for making this happen. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're just going to do a basic warm-up. It's very general because the first drills that I want to work on have to do with stances, and you don't really need to be super loose to do those. So we're going to start with rotating our hands. Okay, and then shoulders side to side. Circles. I like to loosen up my back when I work on my stances. I tend to have bad posture, so it's something that I have to focus on as I practice. Side to side, big circle. ankles. Other direction. Other side. And other direction. All right, hands on your knees, 2 down, 2 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, short stretch. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 일곱. 둘, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 일곱. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All the way down. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 일곱. 둘, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 일곱. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Awesome. So the first thing that I start off on, with for my training is stances. I have a belief that if your stances aren't strong throughout your form, you're always going to have a not strong form. You're not going to have a strong form. So you have to make sure that your foundation is nice and solid to carry you through no matter what you're doing, recognized or freestyle. So I like to do what I call stance squats. I take each stance and I do squats to them. This helps me understand where my body needs to be, and then it also helps me practice the accuracy of each stance, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is horse stance. We're gonna do 20 squats of each stance. Normally I do it 20 and then 3 sets of everything, but for today, because we do have a short amount of time, we're only gonna do 20. So we're gonna start, make sure our feet are a little more than shoulder width apart. It should be 2 of your feet, turn, and then your shoulders squared up, nice and straight, hips squared up, nice and straight, toes squared up, nice and straight. I like to measure my feet straight from the outside of my feet, not the inside of my feet. So right now, this is the inside, and the inside is straight. It makes my toes look like they're pointed out, but if I measure up from the outside, it looks a little bit straighter for me, for the way I am, okay? All right, so let's start. We're gonna do 20 squats. B, C, check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Okay, the next one is back stance. So you're gonna take one foot, turn it to the side. So remember with back stance, we wanna make sure here, 1, 2, 3, one line, okay? What I look for in this stance is to make sure my shoulder is over my hip is over my knee is over my ankle. A lot of times when we do squats, we tend to go too far in the middle, but this isn't a proper back stance, so we have to lean back. Another way I do this is stand next to a wall, to where I make sure that this whole side is touching a wall, okay? 20 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. All right, now we're gonna switch to the other side. Another important thing to maintain in back stance is a 45-degree angle. So I'm actually gonna do it from this angle, that way you can see what I'm talking about. My shoulders aren't turned, and they're also not squared. 45, they match my hips, so shoulders and hips. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Awesome. Okay, so the next one I do is tiger stance. With tiger stance, your foot should be directly in front, no space in between, so it shouldn't be this big. With this one, again, I see a lot of middle stance, like your weight is in the middle. You want your hips to be over that ankle and your back straight. So it should look like most of your weight is on your back leg, okay? It should be 90 to 10% in the front. I kind of do 70-30 just to have a good balance for this one. But 90 to 10 is what you're really focusing on, okay? So here, again, back straight, hips over ankle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, Okay, now from the front view, shoulders are going to be more squared than the other stance. Shoulders, hips, point straight, and you also want your knees to be more close together than further out. You don't want your knees to go out. You want them to go pretty straight, the front leg straight, the other leg at an angle. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Okay, the next stance that we do is twist stance. You're going to take your front foot, turn it at an angle. Your other foot is going to turn at the other angle. So I want my knees to be out like a diamond. Okay, my back foot is going to be one fist between this planted foot and the heel that's up. So again, shoulders and hips are going to be straight. This is the stance that we do for here in Taekwondo 7 or here in Taekwondo 5. See? 20 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Good job. Okay, so again, side view, my weight is going to be straight, or at least it should be. Ready? To the side. 2, step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Okay, the next stance that I do is crane stance. You have to hold your knee up completely like a tabletop in order for this one to be effective. You have to maintain that position the entire time. Otherwise, it's a lot easier than what it really is. Okay? So here, foot's pointing straight, lifting the knee up. It's going to stay at a tabletop. It's okay if it doesn't touch this knee because you are changing heights. So don't try to glue it to your base leg because that's going to change the height of the knee. You want to pull it up all the way, and as you bend, touch, back up. Okay? So try to maintain your balance. Again, you're going to make sure your shoulders and your hips and this knee, everything's going to point straight. Ready? Ooh, let's see if I have good balance today. See, step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Okay, other side. So again, make sure you're maintaining this tabletop position and your shoulders and back are straight. We don't want to start leaning forward as we go or rounding our back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Okay, the last one we do is forward stance. This one's not so much a squat, it's more of a lunge variation. You want to make sure you keep your front leg completely still and isolated. So my front leg is not going to move. I'm going to keep it as still as possible. My back leg is going to be doing the work. I bend, then straight. Again, keeping this leg still. A lot of times when I have my students do this drill, they tend to go like this. Or they go like this. You don't want to do that. The idea is to keep this leg as still as you possibly can and only use your back leg to straighten and bend. This is teaching you when you truly finish the stance. How you completely straighten that leg is how you're going to finish your stance. Okay? So shoulders, hips, square, front knee pointing straight, bend it towards 90-degree angle. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, turn it out a little bit, and then when I straighten it, when I bend it, I turn it a little bit more forward, and then when I straighten it, I pivot it out a little bit. I tend to go between a 30 and 45-degree angle. It really just depends on the form and what exactly I'm doing. Certain things require me to be a little bit more straight, and so then I would choose a narrower rotation, like a 30-degree rotation. But then there are things that require me to kind of turn and extend, elongate a little bit, so I would go more towards a 45. But I don't go past those numbers. So 30 to 45. It's not going to be 20 and 50. Okay? 30 to 45. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Remember to keep this leg still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Okay, so those are all of the stances. Again, normally I would finish all of them and then go back and do this 2 more times. But we're going to skip ahead because there's a lot to cover today. So the next thing I think is the most important in Poomsae is transitioning your weight before you turn. What I mean by that is sometimes, even for simple turns, people turn from here. And then they have to push their weight back. So as you see, I lost balance. It's a little bit harder to keep your balance that way if you just go step and then turn. You always want to make sure that before you step, you're going to load your weight all the way over to that 1 foot and then turn, okay? So we're actually going to start with forward stance first, and then we're going to work our way through other stances. This is a basic one that I do. We're going to go entirely through this one, and then I'll show you the other ones, but we won't have time to actually do them. Okay, so for in forward stance, from here, I want to make sure that my hip is pushed all the way over my foot. I'm not going to stand up. I'm just going to stay down and push forward. After I reach this point, then I can pick up this leg and turn. So shift forward to where my weight is over this foot and turn. So you're going to do this 3 more times. Good. Okay, now we're going to do this with back stance. With back stance, this one's a little bit trickier. A lot of times we don't shift over enough. We shift about right here and then we turn, but that creates this stance where I'm not all the way back. So you want to make sure you're shifting all the way over that foot, because once you're here, this leg is already in the angle it needs to be in. You just have to turn. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. The next one is tiger stance. This one's a little bit tricky because we're often told that we can't drop our heel to turn, which is true. But you also want to make sure that you don't stay up on it so high and then drop and make it noticeable. So you have to learn how to still transition your weight over such a small space and make it natural. I like to think of it as a spiral staircase, how the staircase kind of slowly winds up or down. Same thing. You want to make sure that this transition of that foot is like a spiral staircase while you're still maintaining a levelness in your shoulders. Yeah, that works. Okay, so we're here. Shift to where your hip is over here. So you'll notice right away when you go from this leg to this leg, this ankle will start to feel really tight. That's okay. Once you feel this position, start turning your shoulders and hips. Drop that heel down ever so slightly. Turn. Shift. Turn. Shift. Again, shoulders over ankle, over hip, over ankle. Turn. Turn. 3 more. Okay, so the last one that I want to practice is the Hakari stance, how to go from a horse stance to that one. Again, it's the same method. You want to make sure that you're pivoting all the way, shifting all the way before you pivot. So for in a horse stance, you want to make sure this whole line is over this leg. Once you're here, you can start turning your shoulders. But you want to make sure you get to this point first. Look in the direction you're going to go, pick up the leg. Okay? A lot of times we're in such a hurry that we turn from this point here, and then we try to get our balance and go straight. That's creating too much motion in your line. So you always want to make sure that you have a straight line before you pivot. So again, 1, down, 2, ooh, that was a bad one. Back down, 3. All right, other side. 1, 2, again, stay level and knee all the way up. 3. Okay. All right, so the other stances that I was talking about in transitions are your big 180 turns. You want to make sure, again, you're going to shift all the way back, then turn. When we don't shift, we tend to lift this heel up because we can't hold our weight correctly. So if we shift here and then turn, it's easier to stay down and keep that heel straight, or keep that heel flat. Same thing here. Our weight's already here, so this one's pretty easy. You just have to make sure you're turning your shoulders. Okay? And then for a 360 turn, or a 270 turn rather, again, shift your hip all the way over that foot, then turn. I tend to take a little bit of a cut towards it. What I do is I bend this knee, pull my back leg forward, and then back turn. My head was supposed to lead first. So again, forward, lead that direction. I don't like taking wider turns because I tend to hit them a lot faster. So if I were to step out like that, I always overshoot it. So I have to bring mine in and then straight back. And I think it also creates a cleaner look whenever the judges are seeing it. It's a lot better presented. Okay, so that's it for stances. Those are some common drills that I do. In addition to that, I'll practice my forms with just stances only, or I'll practice stances repeatedly, like moving down a line, coming back down a line, things like that. So even at this caliber, stances are something that we work on daily. Okay, the next thing I wanted to practice with you guys is Sidekick. What Poomsae seminar or training is complete without at least one Sidekick? So, some of my favorite drills to do are balance type drills. What I'll start with is making sure my foot is pivoted in the proper direction, and I pull my knee up to my chest. When I pull it up to my chest, I usually try to hold this for a good 5 seconds, and then whenever I'm done, I like to touch the ground and come back up. Okay? And then I reset. So we're going to do this about 5 times on each leg. There is a very big difference between my right leg and my left leg. My left leg, it's just the left leg. We're working on it. Okay, so right leg up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dip. And back up. Yeah. If you keep that base leg straight, it makes it easier for you to have balance and control. When you don't straighten that knee out, you're always going to wobble around because you're putting a lot of pressure on that knee. So you have to straighten it out completely. Up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And back. Okay, 2 more times. Up. One, down. And back up. Okay, last one. Up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And back up. Okay, now for the other side. My left leg. Try not to laugh. Okay, hold it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, we made it. Okay, 4 more times. Up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And up. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And up. 2 more times. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And last time. 2, 1. All right, let's stretch that out real quick. Oh. 2 more times. Okay, so the next one, I do a lot of isolation drills where I kind of stop and do segments of the kick, not the entire kick. So I pull my knee up, I hold for about 2 seconds, I kick, I pull back, hold for about 2 more seconds, and then put down. To me, if you have a strong kick out there, that's great. But if you can't return back to the original position and hold that, you're gonna struggle getting into the next stance. So you wanna make sure that you're able to kick, go down, and come back up. The comeback up part to me is the hardest part. You'll see a pretty big difference between right and left. My right leg usually has more control over that. My left leg, what I tend to do is like go in and then try to bring it back up this direction. So I'm working on doing that, and I usually just like hold my leg with the strap to keep straight and pull straight. That's what's been helping me lately, okay? So first thing is hold for 2 seconds, kick for 1 second, hold back for 2 seconds, okay? So foot is pivoted. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, down. So you want to have that control. All right, we're only going to do this 3 times, so 2 more times. 1, 2, 1, 2, down. And last time. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, other side. Uh-oh, ready? 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. And last time. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, now we're going to do this going into a stance. So you're going to do the same drill, except after your retraction, hold that for 2 seconds, and go into the stance that would follow. For me, I choose forward stance because that's the one that is the most common between Taekwondo 5 and choreo. Okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, and turn. Okay? Up. 1, 2, 1, 2, turn. And last time. 1, 2, 1, 2, and turn. Okay, other side. 1, 2, 1, 2, turn. You want to make sure that you're pivoting and also not hopping over. Sometimes if we kick too high and we turn, we tend to go like that. You want to always make sure you're having positive contact with the ground. Okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, and turn. And last time. 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh my gosh. Okay, we made it. All right. So the last drill that I do is just the whole thing, kick, and into your stance. Okay? So from here, I always start in a neutral position like this to get used to being able to lift my heel. I find that this helps me control my pivot because it's such a smaller. It's easier for me to manage from a smaller range. A lot of times people can get to here easy, but to get to the full turn is a little bit harder. So I only practice the half, and then later on I add in the full. That helps me manage what I'm doing and have a little bit more control of what muscles I'm using in my body. So sometimes you have to think small to go big. Okay? All right, so from here, you're just gonna pull up, kick, and then into a forward stance. Ready? 1, 2. Make sure you pull your knee all the way into your chest. 3. 4. That was a bad one. 4. And 5. Okay, other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I'm gonna grab some water, so feel free to grab some water, and then we're gonna work on freestyle stuff.
And just a quick reminder, now is a great time, ladies and gentlemen, while you're grabbing a quick drink, to feel free to like and subscribe for this video. Definitely helps us out a lot if you like what we're doing here at NCTA and you are enjoying the workout so far. How about this? If you have any beads of sweat on your forehead, you must like and subscribe.
Okay, flying sidekick. Flying sidekick is often overlooked because it's super easy. So people are kind of just like, I got this, and then they move on and focus on some of the harder requirements, like the spin kick or the acrobatic. So I'm trying to actually spend more time on my flying sidekick right now because my biggest fault is not tucking in my bottom leg enough. So what I actually do is practice this sitting down. So I have a seat. I always have one leg up and then one knee bent. I have to grab my ankle of the leg that's bent and force that whole leg down. And then I'm going to pull this leg in as tight as I can. So I actually want to make sure that both of my feet are touching and my back is mostly straight. So from this angle, I look like this. And from this angle, I look like this. Okay? So I'm in nice and tight like a ball. This is a similar position that I want to be in while I'm in the air during flying sidekick. So the drill is pretty simple. You just kick your leg up. Completely straight and pull back in. Okay? If you want to make it harder on yourself, you can put something here and then kick to like land on top of it. That's also one of the things that I do, but I forgot to grab something, so it's okay. So from here, just pull in, completely straight, knees completely locked straight, toes are still touching the ground, heel is pushed forward. So you don't want to look like this or like this, because that's not a proper form for a sidekick, flying sidekick. You want to keep your toes downward, back straight. So if I look like this, that's going to mimic the position that I want to be in the air. I just want my leg to be raised a little bit. But because of my recognized background and being able to kick high, the flexibility is pretty much there. Okay? So if you're lacking in flexibility, you might want to grab something so you can get used to holding your leg up higher. But for me, I'm okay because I have that recognized background and I know how to use my hips to kick a little bit higher. All right, so from here, pull in, grab your ankle. We're going to do this 10 times, and then I actually do both sides. That way one hip isn't stronger than the other. A lot of my drills I do on both sides just to kind of even things out, but I only really perform one side, okay? All right, 1, get in, 2, get in, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, other side. I'm going to change angles so you guys can see a little bit better. From a different angle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're going to do this one last time. So again, I'm going to keep my back straight, and I'm going to also kick out completely straight. Okay? So this kind of helps me remind myself that I am capable of pulling my leg all the way in. When I'm in the air, I tend to only bring it about halfway. Whenever I feel like the ever so slightest bit of touch right here, I tend to stop. And that's only like this far. So I have to remind myself that I can make it all the way in if I really force it. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And also for those of you that are instructors, I use this drill for some of my kids to practice sidekick to get used to making this leg completely straight. I'm sure you guys know, like a lot of kids when they kick, they kind of only kick like this straight. This is an easy way for them to kick straight, and also it's kind of like, to me, I think it's kind of like the lazy method because their leg is just laying against the ground. They don't actually have to hold it up. So if you're an instructor, this might be a good alternative if you're finding students that are struggling to hold their leg up and manage to keep it straight. This is a good basic way to start and then progress forward. Okay, so we're going to do the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10. All the way in. Okay, so that's it for their groundwork. After that, I like to work on the jump, not so much the running part. To me, if you can get a high jump from just one step or even no steps, then you can get a high jump from running. But if you have to run to consistently make your jump super high, you're going to struggle having control to come down. So you have to be able to control the up and the down from a minimal distance. So I was sharing with somebody the other day that for freestyle drills, I actually don't use a whole lot of space. I stay very small. I only use a lot of space when I'm making a routine or executing the routine. Okay, so our first drill is the jump. So I like to train just the isolated part of it, where I keep one foot pointed out, my base leg, my planted foot. I point it out, and I'm going to shift forward. We always shift. Pull my knee up, and jump up. So that's the drill. It's very simple. You start here. 1, shift, up, and then land. You want to make sure that when you land, you're able to control your landing and not stumble around. So if you're jumping too high, or too fast, or too offline, or you're just not paying attention, you're going to land more like this, because you're not having good balance. You always want to make sure you have good balance now, so you can have good balance in your form, and take minimal steps after you do your kick. Okay? So again, we're here. We're going to do this about 5 times on each side. So up, and then I just kind of turn in my spot and keep going in a circle. Up, 2, up, 3, and notice I'm using my hands. Hands are out, toes still pointing out to the side. This helps open up my hips, and I'm going to scoop all of it together. 4, and 5. Okay, now we're going to use our other side. So again, toes pointed out. Like I said earlier, I drill both sides, but really only practice the one side. Back heels up, arms are back. Go in. And you'll notice a little bit of a balance difference between my right and left leg. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then the next drill that I do is holding my leg up, and I tuck my leg in as fast as I can, like a jump. So like a single leg jump, kind of like these, but flying sidekick style. We're only going to do 5 on each leg, so hold your knee up, tuck your leg in. B, C, tuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so if you notice, hopefully on your sound, I landed pretty light. That's how you want to land. You don't want to land heavy like an elephant. You have to think light on your feet. Okay, let's do the other side. C, check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now into flying sidekick. We're going to put all of that together. So I like to start from a neutral position with my feet together. I take my leg that's going to step out, turn sideways, jump up, and kick. Okay? We're only going to do a couple on each side so we can move on to our next one. Ready? See, check. 1, and other side. 2, left leg. 3, 4. Okay, that is it for flying sidekick. If you take those drills, you can jump over stuff, you can use them to cover distance, infinite drills. But those are, how many did I do? 4? Those are my 4 basic ones that I do for flying sidekick. Okay, next one is multiple kick. So we're going to go ahead back to sitting. For this one, you're going to start leaning backwards and have your weight rested on your back arms like this, and pull your legs up. This is a very popular drill for multiple kicks. There's not a whole lot you can do as far as like kicking it. It's just doing the drills over and over and over again to make them better. So from here, we're going to choose whichever leg you want to go first. I can do both, right, and left, right, left. Same thing for quad. I can use both my right side and my left side as my dominant side. I trained myself that way. I wasn't always like that though. I was mostly left side dominant, and then I had to switch over because my teammates were the other side. So I had to learn how to use both. So what we're going to do is 1, 2, 3. But when we do this, we want to make sure that we're kicking out nice and strong, and we're not just popping our knees out. This isn't going to train your muscles. It's just going to teach you how to swing, and that's not what you want for the kick. So pull your knees up. We're going to do this about 10 times. I'm going to just stick with left, right, left today to make it easy. Ready? See, jump. 1, 2, 3. 1. 1, 2, 3. 2. 3. Again, kick with power. 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Pretty easy. We're going to do that one more time. Ready? And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Super duper easy. Okay, back to up. More jumping. For this one, what I like to do first before actually jumping into it is some kind of like small bunny hops. I don't know why, but if I don't do bunny hops first, my multiple is terrible. So I always do bunny hops kind of first before I get into it. I also like loosen up my ankles, so I'm going to bounce around for a little bit. One foot, other foot, both feet. Okay, and then just lift your toes up. So you're going to kind of like push your weight on your heels and lift the toes up. Okay, so into the jumping drills we go. We're going to kind of do the same thing that we did earlier with our flying sidekick. We're going to start with our one leg bent. This one you don't have to turn sideways. Since your hips aren't going to rotate at all, they're going to stay straight. You don't have to manipulate that front foot. So we're going to start with our foot in front, and you're just going to push one knee up and jump up with it. 1. So you want to make sure that you're pulling that knee up and you're pushing all the way through your toes. Pushing through your toes is a common thing whenever you're doing freestyle. If you push through your toes, it means that you flexed all the way up to the highest point and you pushed off as much as you can. So there's a big difference between going like this, where my toes weren't pushed all the way, and going like this, where my toes are pushed all the way through. Always make sure, push through your toes. Okay, so we're only going to do 5 on each side with our knee pushing up. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, next drill. We're gonna do the same thing, but switch our knees in the air. So I do go straight to 3. I don't have to do the basic of it very often unless I'm like really rusty. But the idea is to go knee, switch, okay? So I want to make sure my first knee is very clear and then my switch is very fast to get the right timing down. So it'll look like this. Land nice and balanced, okay? We're going to do that 5 times on each side, or if you only want to do it 5 times on your good side, that's fine too. Ready? See, clap. 1, 2. If you notice, I also kind of like go sideways. I'm trying to fix that, but whenever I do 3, I like turn sideways. Oh, that time was straight. See how I like turn my hip? I'm trying to avoid doing that, but it keeps happening. All right, other side. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now you're going to do the kick. So again, I think that if you have to do it with a run, you're going to struggle with knowing the basic foundation of it. So even though your jump and your kicks may not be super high, if you do it lower, you do a lot better. Or sorry, you do it a lot faster, which means if you're in the air and you have more space to run, you're going to do a lot better since you have more time in the air. Does that make sense? So if you train low to the ground, you build speed. If you run, you build height. So if you put the two together, in theory, you'll have more time to do more kicks since you're used to doing it low to the ground really fast. At least, that's what I tell myself in hopes to get 5. We're almost there though. Okay, so we're going to be here for 3. We're going to push up, kick, kick, kick. Ready? Hang on. Have to adjust. Okay. And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, other side. Yeah, all right, other side. Ready? 1. That one didn't kick out at all. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, that's it for multiple kick. If you add run, you get more height, so you can practice the kick a little bit better. The other number 1 drill I have for it is to pick targets. That one's a little bit hard to do if you're by yourself, okay? I'm gonna grab another drink of water, and then we're gonna finish off with our gradient kick.
Right, looking awesome. So one more time, I would like to remind everyone, we will be doing a live Q&A session. Miss AJ will have all your answers, so please feel free to pop those into the chat at any time. And one last time, please feel free to like and subscribe if you like what we're doing here and want to continue to support NCTA.
Okay, gradient, probably one of my favorite ones to drill. If I'm honest, I spend more time on gradient than I do on most of my other kicks. I don't know why, but it's just my favorite one. So the first thing about 540 is to make sure you have a good hook kick. A lot of times when people ask me about their 540s and what can they fix, most of the time it's their actual kick. It's not so much the jump or the spin, and if it is the jump or the spin, those are usually like smaller fixes compared to the actual kick itself. So the hook kick is what I'm referring to, okay? So I start off warming up a hook kick, and then I actually start with a double hook kick right after that to kind of help me mimic what the spin would be as I kick, okay? So I'm gonna do both sides. All you're gonna do is step and kick. When you step, it's really important to make sure that heel is up and heel's pointing towards the direction you want to kick. So you don't want your heel to point this way. You want your heel to point towards the direction you're gonna kick, and then turn your head, kick all the way through, okay? So again, make sure your heel is up the direction you want to kick, arms pull all the way through, and try to get as across as you can. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that was hard. Okay, other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the next one, double hook kick. This one, you have to be able to manipulate your body and where you're pointing in order to get it right. So we start off with our first hook kick. You're not going to drop it on the ground. Turn, hook, and then you have to kind of pull it in nice and tight, down and around, hook again. But you want to do it without stopping. So make sure, again, hook, pull it in close to your body so you can rotate around, and then hook for your second time. So it should look like this. Okay? If you bounce in between to get around, that's okay. The idea is to make sure that you get your second kick all the way across them. We're going to do this 3 times on each side. 1, 2, 3, and other side. This is not my good side. Actually, I think it is. And go. 1. Nope, it's not. And 2 more times. 2. Okay, this is not the side I spin on. And last one. 3. Okay, so again, it's kind of a silly drill because you get really dizzy really fast, but you have to learn how to control your body mid-spin and still get that kick out there. So to me, it mimics what I would do in the air, just on the ground. Okay, the next one is, I like to call these the tree hop drills. You put one foot on top. To me, it kind of looks like, I think there's a pose in yoga that's called like the tree pose. I think it's this one. It's very similar to that one, so that's why I called it that, to easily remember what it is. So you're gonna put your foot on top of your knee and squat down. All you're gonna do is jump straight and then come back down. We're gonna do this 10 times on each side, okay? Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, next one we're gonna do is big jump. So you're gonna do the same thing, just a big jump, but no rotation. So jump, big. Okay? That's one. We're gonna do 5 on each side. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, other side. Again, no rotation. You're just getting used to pulling your arms up in a circle. 1. So start one side and go to your other shoulder. 2, 3. And then one more thing, it's really important to make sure you're maintaining this shape throughout the spin. That helps you get a tighter spin, tighter rotation, and a better hook kick across. 4, and 5. Okay, now this is where I would pick my favorite side. Sometimes if I have time, I'll drill both sides, but for today, we're only gonna use one side. So for me, that's making sure that my left leg is on top, since that's my kicking leg. Okay, left leg on top for me. For you, it might be your right leg, so you would have to like reverse image, do it the other way. You're gonna jump up, spin, full circle, all the way around. Okay? So you wanna make sure that you're getting your arms fully up and then pull them in with your hips and shoulders rotating. That's gonna spin you around. The stronger you can get this, the faster that rotation is gonna be. The higher you jump, the easier and more time you have for that same rotation, okay? So right here, we're gonna do this about 3 times. And go. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now you're gonna do a hook kick out of this one. Your hook kick doesn't have to be super duper high as if you're doing a 540, but you wanna be able to naturally kick it out. Okay, so for me, I aim for anywhere to belt to chest level. That's where I work on. For some reason, the higher I kick, I tend to like turn my body up to the side because I kind of lack a little bit of control in 540s since I started practicing more 720s. So I'm working on like bringing that back to like rebuild my foundation, especially since now I have a lot of time, being that everything's kind of closed. So I'm visiting my basics again. Okay, so again, you're gonna rotate all the way around and do a hook kick at the end. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, next thing is to actually do the 540. So when we go into this drill, I want to make sure that my front foot is turning outwards. This is going to keep my hips rotated and turn. It makes it easy for me to, when I step, my hips are guiding that transition since my front leg is already turned. If I go straight and I step, my hips are going to want to stay straight, which means I have to actually turn them. But if I initiate that from my front foot, it helps me turn automatically. So again, turn. From here, I'm going to very quickly step. I do the K-step or the Korean step where you step twice. That's optional. You can do one step, keep your heel up, or you can do like the stutter step, the Korean step, where you go 1, 2. Okay? But be very careful not to overdo it. I know some people that when they do it, they go and they jump from there. Don't do that because that's you're actually hurting your turn because you're rotating less in the air and it's very noticeable. So even though you might think even though you think you might be doing a 540, you're really not, because you're under rotating since you're jumping all the way around and you're facing front and your toes are pointing mostly front into that turn. So make sure that you're still within bounds. I always go by this line right here. So I want to make sure my heel is directly in front and pointing to the back. Sorry, my heel's pointing to the front, my toes are pointing to the back. This helps me make sure that I'm maintaining a good rotation and proper degrees, okay? So again, don't rotate all the way around to the front with a big step like that. It's noticeable. So here, from this point, look over your shoulder and you're going to jump up into your 540. Okay? So we're going to do a couple of them. Okay? One, step, and jump up. Okay? Out, step, and jump up. And last one. Out, step, jump up. Okay, let's put it all together. So you're just gonna step, step into a 540. Okay, go. One, we're only gonna do 3. 2, so make sure you're pulling your arms in. And last one. 3. Okay, so I hope you guys had fun. That's all I have for training today. I think that took us about an hour or so. So we'll start opening up for questions, I guess.
Right. Well, real quick, thank you so much, Ms. AJ. That was awesome. That was phenomenal. Definitely the heat is on there at Texas Taekwondo Forge. All right, let's go through some questions here. The first question that I saw pop up here, actually coming out local from Rochester, Mrs. Rochelle Gonzalez is asking, she says, "Hi AJ, what do you think the next trend in freestyle is? For example, a couple years ago it was the X out, and now over the past year it has been the hyper hooks. Thoughts? And thank you for that."
Hi ma'am, I hope you guys are doing well. I miss seeing your family at competitions. Can't wait to see everyone again soon. Yes, I think the trend is training is switching over to more spin type techniques, and also a lot of acrobatic. But I think because a lot of people are doing X outs, they're trying to figure out ways to be more different, how to stand out. And so that's one of the things that my family and I have noticed is doing a lot more acrobatics with rotations and spins in them, and also how to explain it, blending it into the form. So like in the past, freestyle was all about looking at this next technique, you want to set it up nicely, pause right before, then like run into it. And a lot of Asian styles right now are like blending it in. You're going in, you're like doing the requirements blended into the Poomsae, if that makes sense. And that's something that like when I created my new routines for this year that I don't get to do, I'm sad. That's one of the things we paid attention to is try to like blend it in without setting it up. So what I mean by that is like, I would just take 1 to 2 steps and then in the air as high as I can. And it's a little bit harder to do, especially with like the 90-second requirement. I get tired a lot faster because I have to explode from such a short amount of time. So I hope that helps.
Very good. Next question here, coming from Sun Kim, and then there's a couple addendums, one from Todd, and I'm going to even add in one myself, is just how you break down your kind of training regimen and where you allot your time. So the biggest thing is, one, how many hours per week do you train first, if you could answer that?
Anywhere from 20 to 30. It kind of depends on what I have going on that week. For this next coming week, it's not too much of a stressful week for me, so I'll lean more towards 30 hours. But this past week, I had a lot of meetings and a lot of trainings that I had to conduct, so it was closer to like 20 hours.
Wow, that's awesome. So then with that time, how do you split it up between, I would say, freestyle, traditional, and then how much time are you doing focusing on Taekwondo specific exercises as opposed to more general exercises like, just push-ups, planks, even if you use weights, if you wouldn't mind?
I do about 2 hours of just pure conditioning, so like weights, running. Actually, I went on a 7-mile run this morning, and I kind of balance that with my actual Taekwondo training. So every day, to me, it's more important to get your physical conditioning in. So 2 hours every day, that's what I like to maintain. When I go into a competition, I kind of scale back a little bit because it's getting a little harder to balance that. You want to make sure that you're focusing more on Taekwondo there when you're closer to a competition. And then for drills, I split it up, recognized and freestyle. Unless I'm preparing for something like collegiates where I have to do both, then I'll incorporate both into one training session. But until then, I like to keep them separate. So I'll usually do like 2 hours recognized and then 2 hours freestyle. And then for each one, I like per day, I put out what I want to work on. So like, let's say tomorrow, I'll have my 2-hour conditioning, and then I'll have 2 hours where I work only on stances, and then I'll put in like an hour and a half to 2 hours of working on new tricks. And then the next day, I'll do 2 hours conditioning, 2 hours working on like hand techniques of a specific recognized form, or a couple of recognized forms, and then I'll spend another 2 hours working on like flying sidekick, gradient, and then multiple kicks. So I like to spread them out and kind of separate what I work on per day.
Right. Next question here, actually coming from Josh Estiva, says, "Hi AJ, I'm a coach and I train most of my students in recognized Poomsae, but I'm still kind of new to the freestyle. My question is, are there any good tips or tricks on making a routine for a new coach?"
So as a coach, I try to let my students put themselves in the routine. I try to let them pick music and pick what they like, and then I add in more or less what I think needs to get fixed. So you kind of have to let the student let themselves shine within the form because they're the ones doing the form. But as a coach, I try to put parameters because it helps them narrow it down, and then it makes it a lot easier for me to help them like create the routine. So as far as like creating a routine, pick your song. Within your song, find where you want to put your requirements. So I don't like starting my form and going, okay, next is here, and then here, and then here. What I actually do is kind of like fill in the blank style. Let's say at 10 seconds, there's a really strong beat, and so I want to put a flying side kick there. And then at 22 seconds, it sounds really cool, so I'll put multiple front kick there. And then 30 seconds, we're going to add in the gradient. Around 45, we'll add in sparring, and then at a minute, we'll do acrobatic. And then after that, I'll fill it in with Poomsae. So I like to kind of do mine in reverse. I'll put my requirements, and then I'll fill it in with Poomsae.
All right. And I actually just want to take a moment to reiterate, this will be uploaded, so you can rewatch this video. So if there's anything you wanted to see again or kind of see in more detail and trying to break down for yourself, please feel free to do that. And that's going to be for all of the NCTA lives. Like we said, we have with Miss Cheyenne Lewis and Eddie Jung coming up in the coming weeks here. So please feel free to tune in at any moment. We also have another question, maybe a little bit more personal one. This is great from U.S. World Class Taekwondo Tri-Cities. Says, as a world champion, what other Taekwondo goals do you have in your future? Miss AJ.
Ooh, that's a really good question. So I'm almost done with my undergrad in college, and then I'll go right into grad school. So for me, I'm trying not to plan too far in advance because I'm kind of at the point where I like coaching. So I'm trying to balance both of them, not compete as much as I did. In 2019, I feel like I spent more time in hotels than I did actually at my own house. So I'm trying to balance that a little bit more. And then also I do have my own dojang with my family that I teach at every single night, every single day. So I think I have to like balance multiple things like that. So as far as Taekwondo goals, I think it's grow my business and then grow as a coach and see where competition takes me from there. I'm still not done yet. There's a few things that I'd like to do, but I haven't figured out like when I'll hit those.
All right, that sounds exciting. Okay, next question here from Alex says, hello AJ, thank you for taking your time to show us your training drills. My question is, what is your recommendation for the athlete who has excessive body movement when they land into a stance?
Ooh, so that's a really good one. I have a few athletes that do that as well. And what I tend to tell them to do is to practice like jump squats and then stay still. So what we do is we'll start here. They'll have to jump up and then land into a horse stance completely still. Here. That helps them learn how to control and stop certain muscles. So again, stay still. And then as you practice that, then you can put it into your stances. So you'll go still. Pull back, still, okay? And then the stance squats that we practiced earlier, if you're going like this through the motion where you never really stop, you're gonna have that point where you kind of like don't know how to stop or control. So you drop down, back up, back up. And then same thing. Okay.
Right. And next question here from Alan. I think this is a good question, especially as we focus on freestyle, is about trying to work on back mobility. And if there are any specific stretches or other exercises you have to really help with that back mobility while you train.
So I actually, this is kind of like really bad for me, but I don't really do a whole lot of back stretching. I really, really should, considering the amount of impact that I put for freestyle. There's times where I'll like turn my back and it'll crack really bad. Doc Sherry, if you're watching this, I miss you a lot. So some of the other stuff that I'll do is just like grab onto a wall and pull, and then I'll also like reach up to the side and turn. So they're very basic. I should be doing back bridges, but I don't. It's just one of those things that I like skip over when I'm tired. I just don't do it. But it's what I should be doing. So make sure you're doing those. Don't be like me and wonder when you're gonna need back surgery. Just stretch them out. So again, the ones that I did earlier, and then arcing your back, reaching forward, that really helps.
All right, that wraps up the questions we have here. So unless another one pops up, I think we will call that another phenomenal training. Miss AJ, thank you so much. This was fantastic, and we had such a big group, so thank you to everyone here who joined us on YouTube Live. I hope you guys got a good workout in. And any other last words there, AJ?
Thank you for NCTA to this wonderful opportunity. I was very excited to read about it in my email a couple of weeks ago and be part of an organization that truly cares. Coach Chuang, you have been an inspiration to collegiate taekwondo across the nation. I know many people that reach out to me asking how to get started, and then I refer them to some of the things that you have done in the past, and it just grows collegiate taekwondo as a whole. And to me, being a college student, that means a lot that we have something to look forward to. I can't wait for our events coming up. I know there's a lot planned, so I'm excited to be with this organization. And again, thank you for coming to our training. I had a blast, and I hope you learned something.
Fantastic. Thank you, AJ. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see everyone next time.
Bye.
All right, and with that, that wraps it up. Now, remember, please, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and definitely the notification bell, because we do have more coming up after this. We will have next week, Miss Cheyenne Lewis is going to kick it in with you guys for some awesome sparring training. And the following week, we have Eddie Jung on the deck to go over some more freestyle and traditional Poomsae expertise. So please stay with us if you guys enjoy what we have with you today and are looking forward to more training with NCTA superstars just like AJ, then stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. With that, we are going to sign off. This has been NCTA Live. Until next time, peace, y'all.